today today I'm going to talk about how I'm trying to put myself first and say no more. It's proving to be quite difficult. I, yeah, look, have had a few moments this week where I haven't put myself first, and that has had dire consequences and multiple meltdowns. And I think whilst I'm still recovering and resting and keeping my life super simple, which is what I spoke about in my last video, I think a big part of that is putting myself first and saying no to things. And I'm finding that quite difficult. But what's worse is when I don't do that and I walk away from absolute destruction and chaos, and I feel like I walk away from that and go, wow, that would have been so avoidable if I had just listened to myself in the beginning and done what I wanted. Because like at the moment I still feel like I'm a bit burnt out, exhausted, but I'm on the mend. But I'm still at like -50, and my goal is to get to 0 or 20. That's my goal right now. And getting there, requires like sleeping well, eating well, exercising where I can, and also listening to myself and saying no when my body actually just can't keep up. I, like this week, had a work event till late, and I stayed over at my boyfriend's, and then the next day he really wanted me to walk with him to the bus stop so we could like go to work together. I was so tired, but I think there was a part of me that wanted to keep up, keep pushing, be there for him. I need to be a good girlfriend. I need to be there for my partner. That was a mistake because it was raining. We had one umbrella to share between the two of us, and I literally started crying in the middle of the street because everything was just so overwhelming. I could not regulate my emotions. Everything just felt like I just couldn't handle it, and I just actually started crying in the middle of the street. And from outsiders it probably looked like a massive tantrum, but I just felt so overwhelmed. And then I think when you get into that like physical state, you then become so aware of it and how it could be perceived, and then you just feel guilty and shameful, and then it just like keeps adding and adding, and then you just keep crying and crying. And that's what happened. And then we got on the bus. It was a silent journey, and we went to work, and I was 1 hour early for work. I didn't need to be there at that time. I was the first one there. After all of that, I really asked myself, like, why couldn't I just say no? Or say, like, why was that so difficult for me? And I think a big part of it is probably that I feel like if I don't show up or care for someone when they need it, despite the fact that I need to care for myself, if I don't show up for another person, I'm worried that they're going to dislike me or leave me or not want me anymore, because I think I'm such a harsh critic to myself in showing up for things that I apply that logic to my other relationships. So if I don't show up for someone else, they're going to leave me or they're not going to like me anymore, which is actually just like not the case. And I'm trying to remind myself that actually saying no and looking after myself is admirable to a lot of people. I find it admirable when people say no and put themselves first. So that's what I've been going through this week. It's been, like all I can say is that there's enough data to show that I'm really not putting myself first, because when I don't, catastrophic things happen and it affects the people in my life, and that's not healthy for anyone. And it's ruining my relationships, and it's not okay. So it's this weird thing where I feel like putting myself first isn't feeling like it's good for my relationships, in terms of like, I feel like I'm letting them down, I feel like I'm letting myself down, but also not putting myself first and pushing through when I can't is having worse results. It doesn't instinctively feel natural to me. Like, another example is I was cooking hot pot for my boyfriend and I, and he really wanted lamb, like lamb rolls, like the rolls that you like put in hot pot. And it was actually so difficult not to do that for me. I was so tired after work. The Chinese grocer was on the way. Like, I could have just got it on the way back home, but my body was so physically tired that I just wanted to get home. It was so difficult for me to not do something that someone asked me to, because again, I felt like, oh, I'm gonna let them down, dinner's not gonna be as good, I'm not gonna cook a good meal, it's gonna be a failure without these lamb rolls. I really am just trying to like switch that part of my brain off. That's like the learning lesson for this week, is like, I am trying to say no to things, but I think also at the same time, being able to say no is also having a better understanding of you, your body and your mind. And so I really just like am constantly trying to check in with myself, like, do I want to do XYZ? Will it make me happy? Or do I just want to stay in bed and rest? And that's perfectly fine too, because I'm so tired. So it's actually okay to say no to things. It's actually okay. It's okay. You're not going to be perceived differently. And if anything, people are probably going to respect you more because you are looking after yourself, which is a way better trait to have. I'm going to journal about it. I've wrote some things down, and we're going to do a little journal with me session. So enjoy that, and then I'll see you after the time lapse. Just finished my collages. I did 2. I did this one, which says, descending, put your oxygen mask on before helping others breathe. It's a little haiku question mark. And then I did this one, which is very, very simple. It says, really ask myself, what do I want? Which is something I'm learning. And also, sometimes I get in my head a lot about the simplicity of collages, and I really, really like simple journal spreads and collages, but sometimes I get in my head about, oh, if they're so simple, then anyone could do it. And if anyone can do it, then I'm not that special, or I'm not really good at collaging. But it's not really about that. It's just about getting my thoughts onto paper. I really liked sticking with kind of like the plain motif from the other collage. I really enjoy simplicity. I like simple collages. Sometimes they're the best. Alright, media of the week. Let's have a look. Okay, so I didn't say this at the start, but this video is very much inspired by Emma Chamberlain's podcast episode, What My Meltdowns Have Shown Me, which definitely like got the cogs working and inspired me to make this video, because I had a fair few meltdowns this week. I'm trying to get out of the cycle of feeling shame and guilt and about my feelings. It's not productive, and it kind of adds another complexity to my feelings and how I process things. It's just a waste. It's just not productive. So instead, I'm trying to process everything, and then also like ask myself, what can I learn from this? What are the patterns and behaviors that I need to fix and change? What have my meltdowns taught me? What does the data show? So that episode was very inspirational to this video. So thanks, Emma, for that one. I'll link it below. TV, I'm rewatching The Office. It's just a comfort show. Still recovering and resting. So watching media that's comforting has been really helpful and allows me to like turn my brain off when I need to. That's all pretty much for media of the week. Thank you for watching. I have my Instagram linked below. That's where I post my collages. Subscribe. See you next week. Bye.